Members of Parliament, support staff, radio listeners, TV viewers, and all those following this meeting via social media, and of course, to the members of the media, a very good morning and a welcome to this public meeting. This is public meeting number 19 for today, Wednesday, July 17, 2024. At this time, I want to give a special word of welcome to the Prime Minister, the Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and his support staff. Welcome. And we have established a quorum of 9 members, so I invite you to stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. I have received notice of absence from the members Arundel and Otley. Does any member of Parliament have a notification at this time? We see MP Sylvia Jacobs. MP Jacobs, you have the floor for notifications.
Good morning to you. Good morning to my colleagues, the griffier, the Honorable Prime Minister and their support staff, of course, of also the Integrity Chamber. Madam Chair, I would just like to take this time to, of course, extend condolences to the Peterson family on the passing of Mr. Aldrin Peterson, who passed away suddenly a couple of days ago. Indeed, it was quite a shock, and we wish the family much strength in dealing with their loss at this time, as well as the community of St. Martin. I know that he had many persons whose lives he's touched, also as a driving instructor, and so we wish the family much strength with that. And as well as having just come from the funeral services of Ms. Winsome Scott, I'd like to, of course, also add our condolences as faction of the National Alliance to the family, friends, loved ones, colleagues of Ms. Scott. May her soul rest in peace, as well as she's laid to rest today. And all the other families who are dealing with some kind of a struggle, do know that we continue to hold you up in prayer, remain hopeful for a better day. Positive thoughts can steer us in the right direction and help us to see possibilities. Madam Chair, today is also Justice Day, and we would like to wish the Ministry of Justice and all the justice workers a happy Justice Day as they continue to do the difficult and challenging work out there. May God continue to cover them and bless them as they go about this very important work in securing St. Martin's communities. That is all for today, Madam Chair. And I'm happy to see that this piece of legislation is finally being handled in an OVA today as well. So I look forward to the handling of this without much further ado. Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, MP Sylvia Jacobs. And I join you in your words of condolences, and I would also at this time like to add to those words of condolences, heartfelt condolences to the family, children, husband, and other family of the late Mrs. Cynthia Ray. And yes, so to her family and friends, our sincerest condolences at this time. I want to also refer back to notices of absence and mention MP Doran giving a notice of absence. So thank you for your notifications, and again to those who we might not have mentioned but suffering the loss of a loved one, our condolences, sympathy, and words of strength and prayers. The agenda point for this public meeting are the agenda points: 1, incoming documents, and 2, draft national ordinance to amend the national ordinance of the Integrity Chamber in connection with increasing the age limit for members and alternative members of this chamber. This document, the national ordinance, is registered on the IS 864 of the Parliamentary year 22-23. It is dated the 15th of June of the year 2023. So it's the IS 864 and National Ordinance Number 169. Before I continue, I would adjourn for just a few minutes, 5 minutes, and to make sure that everything is in place for the presentation to be made by the Prime Minister. So I'll adjourn for 5 minutes just to make sure that everything is on stream to allow the Prime Minister to make a presentation. Meeting adjourned for 5 minutes. Thank you for your patience and welcome back to this public meeting of Parliament. I take note of the fact that MP Duran has joined us here, and his earlier notice was one of lateness, not of absence. So we continue with the meeting for today, and as I mentioned, we have two agenda points for this meeting: incoming document and the draft national ordinance amending the national ordinance on the Integrity Chamber, and the amendment is to increase the age limit for members and alternative members of this chamber. Please note that this meeting was originally scheduled for July 4th, 2024. However, it was postponed upon the request of the Deputy Prime Minister, who was confirmed to attend in the place of the Prime Minister. Also, before going over to the agenda points, I want to note that agenda point number 2, the draft national ordinance to amend the National Ordinance Integrity Chamber in connection with increasing the age limit for members and alternate members, was deliberated upon during the public meeting number 6 of this parliamentary year, 2023-2024. Considering that this is a new parliament and that the topic being handled is a draft national ordinance, the Presidium of the Parliament decided that the handling of this draft will be restarted. Hence, this agenda point for this meeting. I want to start with agenda point number 1, and that is the list of incoming documents and the proposals for further handling. These incoming documents are registered under IS 810 through ISA 34 for the parliamentary year 2023-2024. I look to the members of Parliament and ask if there are any comments on the proposals for handling of these incoming documents, number IS 810 through ISA 34. If that was the case, the speakers list for that topic would have been signed by members. That is not the case, so we can go over to accept the list and the proposals for handling of these IS documents, and the list is hereby approved for handling as submitted. We go over to agenda point number 2, and that is, as I mentioned earlier, the draft national ordinance to amend the National Ordinance Integrity Chamber in connection with increasing the age limit for members and alternate members. This draft national ordinance is number 169 in the documentation of Parliament, and it came in on the document number IS 864. Both of the parliamentary year 2022-2023, and the incoming document is dated the 15th of June 2023. The Parliament received the draft national ordinance to amend the National Ordinance Integrity Chamber on June 15, 2023, as mentioned. A Central Committee meeting was held on September 13th of 2023 on the subject matter, in which the final report with questions to the minister was established. This report was sent to the government as well as to the members, and the government answered this report with a so-called note following the final report. That document, so the answers, are under IS 20 or 201-201, dated November 10th, 2023. Of course, all members of Parliament have access to the draft national ordinance, the final report from Parliament, as well as the note following the final report. So at this time, I want to give the floor to the Prime Minister and Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, for his opening remarks and/or presentation. Prime Minister Mercelina, you have the floor. Just a brief adjournment for us to check the mic. 1 minute. Oh, the battery in. Okay. Yeah. we give the floor to the Prime Minister. Prime Minister, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. President of Parliament, Secretary General, honorable members of Parliament, and the people of St. Martin following through social media, good morning. Madam Chair, on the agenda today is the matter of the increase of the age limit for members and deputy members of the Integrity Chamber, an essential institution within our governance framework. This organization plays a key role in upholding the integrity, the transparency, and accountability standards within government and its entities. Many of us should be aware of the following information, but for sake of those who have not had the opportunity, I wish to provide you with the following information. The Integrity Chamber was established following the adoption of the National Ordinance Integrity Chamber in December 2017, which entered into force on December the 28th, 2019. Its creation was a response to various integrity-focused reports, notably, for example, the Witt-Sampson report titled Doing the Right Things Right. These reports highlighted the need for a dedicated body to oversee integrity within our government and its entities, including government-owned companies. The Integrity Chamber has an independent entity with three primary tasks. First, the Chamber renders advices and proposals. It presents recommendations on policies aimed at enhancing integrity within the country. These recommendations can be made independently or at the request of the Prime Minister, a responsible minister, or Parliament. Secondly, the Chamber raises awareness on the importance of integrity. It actively promotes ethical conduct, aiming to unite and develop a community that values transparency and integrity via ongoing education and awareness campaigns. Thirdly, the Chamber investigates suspected misconducts. The organization has the authority to investigate suspected misconduct within administrative bodies. These investigations can be initiated based on received notifications or on the Chamber's own initiative. The Chamber consists of 3 members and is supported by a secretariat. The secretariat is led by a director who oversees daily operation and ensures the smooth functioning of the organization. Additionally, there is a supervisory council, also with 3 members, which oversees specific activities of the Integrity Chamber and handles complaints regarding its conduct. Now I return to the matter of increasing the age limit for the members of the Integrity Chamber. The draft was presented to Parliament and discussed in the Central Committee meeting of September the 13th, 2023. The final report was sent to Government, and Government provided the answers by letter dated November the 9th, 2023. I understand that all those documents are already by Parliament. In short, the objective of this amendment is to adjust the maximum age allowed to be a member of the Integrity Chamber from 70 to 75 years. The reason for this adjustment was already discussed in the Central Committee meeting, as mentioned, among others, the difficulty to find potential candidates considering this not a full-time job. The other reasons are mentioned in the elucidation by government in their response to the final report. So the question by many for the reasons for the increase has already been addressed, but still I want to mention the following reasons. One, the function of a member of the Integrity Chamber is a part-time job of 0.5 FTE. This makes it very difficult for persons with full-time jobs to apply and limits the pool of candidates that could be considered for the function. Secondly, another limitation of the pool of candidates is appointment terms. Members are appointed for 3 years and can only be reappointed once. The total appointment period is therefore maximum 6 years. As the pensionable age is increasing, it's also difficult to find candidates under the age of 70 years to fill the function for the maximum term of 6 years. The law also defines several functions that are incompatible with the role of a member of the Integrity Chamber. Increasing the age limit would allow for a more diverse pool of already limited candidates, especially in the local market. Older, more experienced candidates often bring a wealth of knowledge and understanding of local and international governance. When it comes to overseeing ethical standards and practices over the long term, older persons and members can provide stability and continuity. Experienced members also serve as role models for younger generations, demonstrating the importance of integrity and the impact of a lifelong commitment to ethical governance. The government of St. Martin acknowledged the increase in life expectancy and overall improvement in the quality of life, both stimulated by improved health care, as a reason to increase the age from 70 to 75 years for the members of the Council of Advice, the General Audit Chamber, the Ombudsman, and the Constitutional Court. An increase of the age for the members of the Integrity Chamber would be in line with the increase for similar advisory bodies. The increase would also further strengthen this institution, ensuring it's equipped with the necessary experience and perspective to uphold the highest standards of integrity. In closing, I propose that we continue to support and refine this vital body that protects the principles of transparency and accountability on St. Martin. Hence, I'm seeking support by the members of Parliament to adopt the draft ordinance to increase the age limit for members of and deputy members of the Integrity Chamber from the age of 70 to 75 years. Madam Chair, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for your presentation on this draft national ordinance to increase the age limit for the members and alternate members of the Integrity Chamber. Members of Parliament, the allotted speaking time is 20 minutes in the first round and 10 minutes in the second round. We have a speakers list to which no one has inscribed, and I assume, unless I see a member, which I do see, Member Brug, indicating his desire to speak, and as such will sign the speakers list. I await MP Brug's return to his seat and invite him to take the floor. MP Brug.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair Lady, fellow members of Parliament. Prime Minister and supporting staff, and also those following via the media. Madam Chair, as a legislator, I know that we are responsible to create legislations, amend legislation, and also these legislations usually have research attached to it and information that backs up whatever we are changing or creating. I've read through the documents that were provided, and I still have a hard time accepting this amendment as is. And I also understand that the reasons that was given. One of the reasons that was given that was also stated here today was because it's already done to certain high council of states. The ombudsman was mentioned, the chamber audit chamber, council of advice. I wasn't part of those discussions then. I wish I was, but I have a different feeling about. I have a different opinion, and I'm part of the discussions now. So that's why I'm going to voice my opinion today. In addition, I also read in the documents that it is stated that the life expectancies have also increased and the standard of living. That's also one of the reasons that was given in one of the documents. Now, my question is as follows. Because in that same document, when I do my own research up to 2021, it also showed that life expectancy is actually declining due to lack of eating healthy. So my question is, what is the life expectancy for St. Martin? Because these reports are quite broad. Probably same information is from Europe, from Africa. What is the life expectancy of St. Martin? Madam Chair, Lady, what makes it difficult for me as well, and I'm going to ask this question as well, is when we make changes to this amendment and have the age up to maximum 75, what message are we sending to those that are 55 to 65 years younger, or even 70 younger? What message are we sending to them, those that are experienced, that are here today? We have to be careful. I think St. Martin is one of those places that we are, we hold on to things like it's ours. Like, we don't want to let it go. We have a problem in St. Martin when it comes to passing the baton. And if it is, for example, and I can understand that it is a challenge finding those between the age of 60 to 65 that are interested in these functions, but I think instead of adjusting the age to 75, I think what we should look at is find a way to make it more appealing for those that are pensioners that are 60 to 65 or even reaching 70, that they are more willing now to join these high councils. Because for me, I want to know, for example, as well, how many persons now are between the age of 70 to 75 that are awaiting this position. That would be all my questions for today, Madam Chair, Lady. Thank you very much.
Thank you, MP Brugge. And I don't see any other member of Parliament requesting to speak to the topic, so I turn to the Prime Minister and ask if the Prime Minister would like a short adjournment to contemplate on these questions, or Prime Minister, you would like an adjournment? It's okay. Prime Minister will immediately go into the answers, and I invite you, Prime Minister, to do that.
Thank you, Mr. Brugge, for your two questions. The first one is that you made some statement about the life expectancy. In the life expectancy approach, there are two angles into this. If you follow the graphic of people, the lifespan of people, we are getting now to the edge of the maximum that we're getting with the guidance of science, of medicine, for example. But on the other side, what we do see with the improvement of medical health care, that we see that we can maintain people in a longer phase of that life expectancy in a good quality of life. And that is the shift that worldwide you're seeing, that it's not that we don't reach the age, but we reach the age in a good level of quality of health in individual cases. That is the expression that I made in my introductory notes that I make.
Prime
Secondly,
Minister?
statistically, you asked me...
Prime Minister,
Pardon?
if I just may interject you for one moment?
Yes.
Through the chair, please.
Sorry,
Yes.
sorry, I apologize, President.
No problem.
Through the chair, MP Brug, I would like to make a statement, the specific figures for the community of St. Martin, I do not have at hand now, but with the approval of the President of Parliament, I would like to get back to you in writing with the answers on this specific statistic information for country St. Martin. Secondly, you asked a question, Madam Chair, about the amount of members now that are above the age of 70 years. In this case, we have Mr. Boosman is above the age of 70 years. We see a vital gentleman, a vital, very respected citizen of our country, had a great contribution, knowledge and experience to contribute to this integrity chamber. And pure on the base of his age, we are now in the challenge of getting the appropriate persons that meets the profile that we need to fit in the membership of the integrity chamber. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Prime Minister, for the answers to the questions by MP Brug. Does any member wish to receive a clarification on what the Prime Minister has just responded? There is no need for clarifications at this point, and I go over to the second round and ask MP Brug if there's any additional questions that the MP has for the Prime Minister. The MP Brug, any
Madam
need?
Chair, Lady, at this moment I have no additional questions. I'll leave it at that for now.
Thank you very much, MP Brug. And so of course we don't have any clarifications for the second round because there were no questions and answers from the Prime Minister. So we have come to the end of the deliberations on this agenda point, and we will now go over to the voting on the point before us, so which is the amendment to the ordinance on the integrity chamber. And we will vote on, but before I'll mention what we'll vote on, and then I'll see whether there's a request for hoofdelijke stemming, because we will be voting on Articles 1 and 2. We'll be voting on the title, the consideration, the draft in its entirety. Does any member request a vote by hoofdelijke stemming? I see that MP Duran has asked that that be done. So we go over to voting by roll call, hoofdelijke stemming. And as soon as the Secretary General has made the necessary notes to go into hoofdelijke stemming, then we will proceed. Secretary General Richardson. Is there the need for anyone to motivate his or her vote? MP Duran at this time would like to give a short motivation of his vote to come. MP Duran.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. Good afternoon to you, my colleagues, to the Honorable Prime Minister and the support staff here with him, Ms. Pompey of the Integrity Chamber, and a special good afternoon to the people of St. Martin that are tuned in. Madam Chair, I just want to share my sentiments on this so that my vote don't be a surprise. Just to echo the sentiments of my colleague that spoke a while ago, MP Brug, whereas I would like to know what message we are sending. For me, quite honest, I've always been transparent with the decisions that I've made as a leader in St. Martin, and if I can't buy something, I definitely can't sell it. I think that we are going down a very, in my humble opinion, dangerous path if we continue to increase these ages, because then for me and how I see it, we are taking away opportunities from others. And as a proponent and as someone that experienced age discrimination in different ways and means, I think that we cannot on one side of our mouth be saying that we are developing and we are providing opportunities for our young people, and not only young people, because in this case it's a more senior function, but also taking it away on one end, and in 2024, passing a legislation that would allow persons to serve up until 75. I've been to several funerals over the last couple of months for several family members, known persons within the community, and as far as I can remember, none of them even reached the age of 70. So with respect to the life expectancy question, I would really, really like the answer to that in the future, as the Prime Minister indicated through you, Madam Chair, that he will provide that in writing. But I cannot support something like this because for me, it's not sending a good message, and it's not what I've been championing over the last 7 years. Thank you for the opportunity, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Duran. Any other motivation of the vote? We have MP Roosburg. MP Roosburg, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Blessed morning to all. Honorable Prime Minister and support staff, also Ms. Pompier from the Integrity Chamber, my dear colleagues. I see it different, Madam Chair. I listened to the presentation. I also reviewed the documents. And although I understand the stance of my colleague MPs, I do believe that it will not take away from the younger generation, because what the law is clearly stating is that the age limit will go up. So if there will be younger candidates that can fulfill that position, I do believe that they will not be involved in that. So I do think that seeing what we're currently facing and also what was brought forward, that the current situation at hand is that we don't have younger people applying for that function, that we are now at risk that those functions will not be fulfilled. So that's how I am reading it, and I am going to support what was brought forward, because there's clearly a need that the age limit currently goes up, else we will find ourselves in a position that those functions will not be fulfilled. And I don't think that that is the idea. So I encourage everyone that has interest in those positions to apply, but currently there's clearly the need to fulfill on a higher age, to be able to fulfill it until others that are younger apply and are fit for the function. So I will be supporting it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Roosburg. We also have MP Brug, who wishes to motivate his vote. MP Brug.
Thank you, Madam Chair Lady. With regard to the questions that I've asked, I want you to really take it seriously, in the sense of what message are we sending to those that are of pension age, younger than 75 years. The reason this amendment will, despite my line of questioning, will get my support, is only because it have the one clause in there, that the individual may only serve 2 terms. But I would encourage all High Council of States to find a way to encourage younger individuals to also apply for these positions. Because I am also very fearful that it would be used to keep the selected few within these positions, and that it will be abused. So I caution all High Council of State to look into a way of motivating, encouraging younger individuals to be part or to take up these functions when available. Thank you, Madam Chair Lady.
Thank you, MP Brug. I now give the floor to MP Jacobs. MP Jacobs, you have the floor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I did not initially sign in to speak because I think I've spoken on this topic from the other end in the Central Committee meeting. And I was the one, after deliberating with the Integrity Chamber, that brought it to the Council of Ministers. So I'm not going to mince words about it. Initially, I also had challenges, I must say, with the whys of it, but in reality, it was difficult to find persons with the correct criteria to fill these functions at the time. And in keeping with the other high councils of state in terms of equality and it being a position that's not highly remunerated. So let me break that down. You don't make a good bit of money. And we found that especially when we were seeking persons for the Council of Advice, when this whole thing started, it's mostly people with a legal background. Those within the ages of 30, 40, 50 are still working on their practice. They're really building their name. And so to invest the type of time and energy for the small stipend that they will receive, it's not seen as lucrative. So it wasn't that you don't have people that were willing, but I think MP Brooks' suggestion in terms of looking at how to make it more attractive for younger candidates to want to do it, I know, based on my experience, that the main deterrent was the remuneration for the amount of work. And so seeing that what is the age? Had gone to 65? Wow, I'm at a loss for
Pension.
Pension age had moved to 65, and at the time when the max age was set, it was 10 years higher than the pension age. That was why I finally acquiesced, and we did it with the other high councils. It does not in any way, I must reiterate, deter younger persons, those who have the time, the energy, and the willingness to sacrifice the time from building their own business or whatever it is they're doing, to invest that to help build our country. Kudos to all of you. And like I said, I feel that as government, we should have like a holding space or whatever. You write to the Council of Ministers Secretariat to generally apply for these functions, and we keep a pool of persons so that when the need arises, we can call on said persons, because they are very valuable, and it is important for us. The Netherlands has a huge pool. We don't have a huge pool. So in that case, someone may appear to be there for longer than you think is necessary, but then apply, I would say. I would agree with my colleague in that, apply, and then we can ensure. And even, in fact, I'd encourage the more senior members to take a younger one under their wings and mentor them so that they can gain the necessary experience which is necessary to be able to serve in these functions. So I think with that being said, Madam Chair, I can clarify why, though it's not maybe seen as the thing to do, it does not in any way deter our younger people. And in fact, it encourages you to remain viable, because we have realized that the persons within our community that are maintaining and pushing back dementia and the rest are the ones that remain active. So the longer we keep active as people, the more we can contribute and ensure that we're still part of the development of St. Martin. Thank you very much for the opportunity to just voice my opinion on this matter, which I hope will then be finalized within the vote today. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, MP Jacobs, and all the other MPs who have briefly motivated their vote. Allow me just to add a few comments to as part of my motivation, and that is one, that the issue of the mortality rate on St. Martin is something that I have questioned our Minister of Public Health about. Based on my questions, I have received some information from the ministry, not as detailed as I would have liked it, or maybe not as detailed as it could be, but nevertheless, to me, just from a layman's perspective, it is a worrying trend. And we should really, as a government and a parliament, look at this matter further. I think it was MP Jacobs who referred, and another MP as well, to the issue of a pool. And I think it's extremely important that some type of data bank for our human resource, especially for some of the functions that we talk about, is critical in this context. And just like other countries within the kingdom, also utilize persons from the country who might not be in the country. So I'm talking about our our St. Martiners who are abroad and have the necessary knowledge and expertise, that somehow we should also take those into consideration. And again, I plead, like I've done in the past, for some type of a hybrid situation where our expertise that is abroad can be used here locally. And then thirdly, I want to encourage especially young persons who look at functions like these and other functions on boards of government-owned companies and the like to please utilize whatever possibility there is, and there are possibilities for training in whichever way you can. And it's not, it might sound like, like an easy task on the board of this company or that company. Of course, there are profiles, but in addition to the profiles, there is a need to know more about what one is getting into when it comes to sitting on boards, etc. So I just wanted to add those brief comments as part of my motivation. And we now go over to the voting, and I look at the Secretary General, and I pick a ball that is, do we have a 12? We don't have a 12. I pick another number, and it's 13, neither. We continue, and a 5. We start at number 5.
MP Silveria Jacobs. MP Viren Kotai.
4.
MP Francisco La Cruz. MP Cloyd Marlin.
Against.
MP Shamira Roseberg.
4.
MP Ludmila de Wever.
4.
MP Richanel Brug.
4.
MP Egbert Duran.
Against.
MP Melissa Gums.
4.
President of Parliament Sarah Westcott Williams.
4. Nine votes have been cast for this amendment, 7 against this amendment, 2. So the draft has been accepted with 7 for and 2 against. According to Article 88, subsection 1 of the Constitution of St. Martin, Parliament shall notify the government that Parliament has approved this draft law in its public meeting of today, Wednesday, July 17th. I want to thank the Prime Minister, Minister of General Affairs, Dr. Luc Mercelina, and his support staff, representatives of the Integrity Chamber, as well representative of the Integrity Chamber, for your presence here today and for providing the necessary information. Members of Parliament, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of this meeting. I thank all for your participation, as well those who have been tuned into this meeting, and I hereby close this meeting of Parliament. Meeting closed.